Hello, grade 4 students. Mr. Waterman here with today's mathematics lesson. It is Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. I hope everyone is doing safe and well and you have had a good morning studying. Okay, so the first thing I want to look at table of contents. Okay, and I want to talk about a special math quiz that you're going to be taking next week in mathematics class on Wednesday. Okay, so the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to give you a short quiz and I'm going to ask you questions based on the notes that we have taken in the videos and also based on steps. Okay, so for example, when we studied add and subtract decimals, I had 3 steps for adding. I might ask you, what is the first step in adding decimals? So then you would have to say, line up the decimal points, add. That would be the answer. I might say, what is the second step in subtracting decimals? I might want you to write, please line up the decimal points and subtract. Or line up the decimal points first, then subtract. Okay? Back when we studied compare and order decimals, I taught you 2 different ways to do that. I might say, what is one way to compare and order decimals? Your answer might be to use a place chart, a place value chart, or you can say use a number line. Okay? The reason why I'm asking you this is because this is English Math number 1. Number 2, it will be faster for you to explain your answer than trying to type out all of these numbers and symbols and lines on a computer. Okay? So I'll just be asking you just a few questions. It won't be a very long quiz. Okay? It will be a few questions. Another example is when we studied fractions and decimal equivalents, right? I might say, what is one way you can show equivalent amounts or equal amounts? Well, you can use models. When you use models, these are pictures, right? What is another way you can show equivalent amounts? You can use number lines. Okay. Back when we studied just last week with quadrilaterals and other polygons, right? I might say to you, how many sides does a triangle have? It has 3 sides and 3 angles. How many sides does a quadrilateral have? It has 4 sides and 4 angles. Okay? I might say to you, is a circle a polygon? Then you have to tell me yes or no. Yes, it is. No, it is not. And tell me why. Is a half moon shape a polygon? No, it is not, right? It has no sides that are equal, no angles that are equal, right? So as I'm showing this to you, you should stop the video and take notes because pretty much if I'm reviewing these questions with you, then I'm going to ask you those same questions, right? Okay. So we might not cover every single part of decimals, okay? But it will be enough, okay? I might give you a fraction. If I say 100 over 100, this is the same as what? As a decimal. Oh, 1.0. Okay? All right. So we will get back to some of this later on. So I wanted to start to pre-write today's lesson because I didn't want to make this video too long. I wanted to give you all enough time to follow what I was saying in that review so you'll be ready for next week's quiz. Today's lesson, we are talking about congruent figures. Congruent figures, and I'm working on page 16 of my notebook today. Okay? And as I went to page 16, I will just go over a few of the basics with you. I'm going to go over the objective first. So the objective is to learn about figures that have the same size and shape. Okay? Figures that have the same size and shape. Now I want you to look at our title again, Congruent Figures. And now I want you to remember the words same size and shape. And look at this page. Look at numbers 1 through 4. Which numbers are the figures the same size and shape? Keep that in mind. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And now let's look at our example. It says, Taejun is designing a puzzle on his computer. Wow, Taejun has a lot of talents, doesn't he? Look at the puzzle and the puzzle piece. You can tell that the piece belongs in the puzzle because it is the same size and shape as the empty space. So we see that same size and shape as the empty space. Plane figures that have the same size and shape are called congruent figures. Now I'm going to show you the picture of the puzzle piece on Taejun's computer. This is Taejun's computer. You can see the puzzle on the screen. The shape of the missing piece. I'm going to turn the book this way. There's that shape again. So you can see the shape is the same as the space. Because it's the same shape and size, that makes it congruent. Now, here's my ruler. Okay. So please remember, this is important because next week I might say, what is a congruent figure? Well, a congruent figure. Figures that have the same size and shape. Plane figures that have the same size and shape. I might say plane figures that have the same size and shape are, and then you have to fill in the blank with congruent figures. Okay? So please study and pay attention to the wording. Now we're going to look at some figures that are congruent. I wanted to go back and get my ruler to just make this much easier for us to look at. Okay. So I want my figures to be the same shape and size. The best way for me to do that is to use a ruler. Okay. I'm trying to start at all the same numbers, so they will be the same shape and size. There we go. Do it again over here. I like to take my time. I tried to draw these freehand before, but doing it freehand doesn't work so well. That's why it's important to use a ruler. I'm taking my time here. Okay, and even if it's not perfect, you get the idea here. So then I would say these figures are congruent. Okay. Now, I'm going to do another set here. And I'm going to use a triangle this time. This time I will do this freehand. Just to give you an example. Okay, so clearly you can see these figures are not congruent because they are not the same shape or size. Okay? I'm going to do this one again. So that is why you should always use a ruler. There. All right. These figures are congruent. These figures are not congruent. They are not the same shape or size. Okay? Now, going back to this activity on this page, do the figures in each pair appear to be congruent? Right? Yes or no? Let's look at number 1. Yes. If I ask you to tell me why, it is because they are the same size and shape. Look at number 2. Are these figures congruent? Clearly not. We can see that they are 2 different sizes. Okay? They're not even the same shape when you look at the number of sides, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have an octagon with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. An octagon with a pentagon. No, these are not congruent. How about this one? Number 3. Again, they are both squares, but they are not the same shape. They are not congruent. When you look at number 4, these shapes are congruent. They are the same shape, and the angles are the same size, even though they are not side by side. Okay? So, as we go on, you basically are going to have a lot of the same. You're going to have pairs of shapes that you're going to look at. You're going to say yes or no if each of the sets of shapes are congruent or not. And then you give a brief explanation as to why or why not. Okay? Looking at tonight's homework assignment, on congruent figures, it asks us, do the figures in each pair appear to be congruent? Write yes or no. Explain your answer. Okay? They give you an example here. These triangles are not the same size. No, they are not congruent. Okay? For part 2 here, it says draw a figure congruent to each figure shown. So here's the figure. You need to draw the figure that is the same shape and size as this one for numbers 3 and 4. For question 5, it says use the figures at the right for problem 5. It says to use a centimeter ruler. Are the two figures congruent rectangles? You have to write yes or no, and then why. For the last part, it says to use the grid paper to draw a square. Draw lines that connect the opposite corners using a ruler. Are the resulting triangles congruent? So you're going to draw a square here, okay? And then after you draw your square, you're going to draw lines that connect the corners, okay? So the corners of the square, for example, would be if you did this. Let's say you draw a square. Okay, and you draw a line to connect the corners. So now it wants to know if each triangle is going to be congruent. Is it going to be the same shape or size, and why? And that is tonight's homework. Now, let's go over the answers to last week's homework assignment, okay? Last week's homework assignment, we spoke about quadrilaterals and other polygons. So we remember the polygon here is a quadrilateral. It has opposite sides parallel and 4 sides that are the same length. It is a parallelogram and a rhombus. Okay? Here are our answers for numbers 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, we had a regular octagon. This is because all the sides and the angles were the same. For number 2, we had a quadrilateral, but we also had a trapezoid because 2 of the sides are parallel. They will not meet, but these 2 sides will meet at some point, so they are not parallel. For number 3, we have a regular pentagon. Again, we have 5 equal sides and angles. For the second part, we had to talk about whether each figure is a polygon or not. If it is a polygon, we have to tell if it is regular or irregular. For number 4, we have an irregular pentagon. It's 5 sides, but not all of the sides and angles are the same. Number 5, this is not a polygon. The sides are not even meeting. Number 6, we have a regular hexagon. All of the sides are the same. Number 7, this is not a polygon. It's an oval, and none of the sides are meeting. It's infinite, meaning it doesn't end. For the last question, it said Megan drew a shape with 4 sides. 2 of the sides were parallel. The other 2 sides were not parallel. What kind of shape did Megan draw? Megan drew a trapezoid. So those are the answers to last week's homework assignment. You have your homework for this week about congruent figures. And please remember to study all of the points, to go back and review through the videos. Okay? Points about how to write a decimal. This would be good to remember. 0.1 1/10 is written as 1/10. 0.01 1/100 is 1/100th. 0.001 1/1000 is 1,000th. So please remember the spellings. Please remember decimals that name the same amount are called equivalent decimals. So equal is a hint, okay? Equivalent, okay? Meaning same. A good example, 0.5, 0.50, and 0.500 are equivalent decimals. Okay? Please remember, if I ask you a question about how to write a decimal as a mixed number, 2.45 is the decimal, but as a mixed number, it is 2 and 45/100. We talked a little bit about this before. What's one way to show equivalent amounts? You can use models, pictures, or you can use number lines. So it's going to be a lot of English, okay? What's one way to compare and order decimals? You can use a place value chart, or you can use a number line. What's the first step to add decimals? Line up the decimals and add. What's the first step in subtracting decimals? Line up the decimal points, subtract. we talked about polygons. You may need to tell me the names and then the number of sides and angles it has. And please remember from today's lesson that congruent figures have the same size and shape. And that's it for today's lesson, grade 4. Please review everything that I have talked about in this video. If you do, you should do well on next week's quiz. If you have any questions, please email Mr. Waterman. Until then, stay safe, be well, and I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you again for all the hard work and effort that you have put in the last few months with this. I know it is not ideal for any of us. We all want to be in school. But for now, let's just do the best that we can. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day studying. Bye-bye for now.